there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. These are the 3 rainbow cards that we are going to be creating today. I created all 3 of these cards out of making one sheet of rainbow cardstock. So I'm going to start off here, and I have all these kind of colours that I have just collected from my paper stash. Some are bigger, some are smaller. In the end I will end up using the kind of longer, larger ones, but that's in a minute. And now I have this double-sided adhesive sheets. These are from scrapbook.com, and these are the 2 sizes that you can get. I'll need these in a minute too. But for now, I need to cut up all of my strips of coloured cardstock. Now, as I said, I'm just going to cut these up into, I can't even remember the width of them. I'm just cutting up lots and lots so that I can create one big sheet of coloured rainbow cardstock. As I said, I'm sorry I can't remember what width I cut these to, but I am cutting these all to be exactly the same width. And I did end up deciding to go through and use the pieces of cardstock that had some decent length to them. I didn't want to use any that were too short because, yeah, I just wanted to cover the full sheet of adhesive, I guess. And so, yeah, I used ones that I had nice long sheets of. So you can see I've already done the red up in the top left-hand corner. And now I'm just doing lots of the orange. I didn't have a certain number that I think that I needed or anything, because I will always use leftovers, and I have my gorgeous girl waiting at the sidelines, always desperate to follow in my footsteps and do what I'm doing. So we never have any waste or leftovers in my crafting little area. So now I have all of my rainbow done, and I have one full sheet of this adhesive. And so I'm just peeling back the top because the stuff from scrapbook.com is pretty sticky and it's not super forgiving. Once you put something down on it, it's really stuck there. And whereas with the stick adhesive, you can kind of move things around a little bit until you press down really hard and then it becomes permanent. So yeah, a little bit different. But anyway, so with the scrapbook.com one, it's pretty permanent as soon as you put it down. So this is a really obvious process. I just keep putting the strips, I butt them up next to each other in their rainbow order, and then I just start again and again and again. And I get to about halfway and think, is that probably all I need for what I'm going to do? But as I said, I decided to just keep going right to the very end of the card because I have a little person beside me who's always keen. So getting right to the very end now, and it is a really easy process. As I said, you just kind of butt one up against the other and it's all done. They kind of fit in nicely. So it's a pretty flexible piece of cardstock, maybe you could loosely call it now, and those little scraps get scooped up there. Now I have some Kraft card bases, and these measure 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I have some Kraft card fronts, just cut out of Kraft cardstock. And I have these 2 little feet here that are from AliExpress, and I am not sure which part of them I'm going to use at the moment, but anyway, so I'm just cutting them out roughly. And then I have these leaves that were from one set and the flowers are from a different set. I will do my best to try and link them down below. Some of these are older, some of them are newer. I'll just see what I can find and try and link as much as I can down below in the description box. So I kind of wanted this little flower to be surrounded by these leaves here, but I decided that 3 ended up working a bit better. As I said, not all of these went to plan, and I was sort of playing at the same time, and I wasn't sure that I was going to turn this into a video, so yeah, but that's okay. I did turn it into a video, and yeah, I like a couple of the cards a lot. So I'm just gently taking up those delicate wee leaves. These are some of my favourite leaves. I have used them a lot, and now I'm going to run through the little feet. And as I said, I'm not sure whether I'm using the positive or the negative of these little feet and toes yet, so I'll just keep them there. And then I also have this You Are Awesome die, which again I wouldn't usually put in the middle of the cardstock, but I've got a bit of a plan for how I want to do it, use it up, so that will come into play soon. So I've kind of die cut all my main bits and pieces. I'm trying to do this card first because I don't want to lose all the little pieces in the meantime if I put it off to the side. So I'm going to use this part here, and so I want to cut off the top because it's going to be a strip along the front of the card. So I'm just eyeballing it. There is no no real measurements here. I just want it to kind of be an equal distance to the top and the bottom, and it's going to sit along the middle of my card. Now, of course, this is where the rainbow part comes in, and I don't know if it's just me, but I even found it tricky to choose which orientation I wanted the rainbow to come in behind it. And then you only catch some of the colors, so you need to decide which colors you like the look of best behind whatever you have die cut out. So anyway, that's why you can see me shifting it along, and then I just use some scissors to cut it out. It still has the backing paper on it, the release paper, so it's it will be sticky once I release that. And here I have these little foam circles. These are from AliExpress, and I really like these foam circles. They're quite handy, although I do have lots of them in my stash now, so I do like to use them up too. But anyway, I am just going to simply cut these up into slices so that I can use them as foam tape. You could use normal foam tape here, you could use foam squares, or you could just use fun foam, of which you could use some liquid glue to adhere down. These are just simply what I had on hand. I will try and link them down below in case you're interested, but yeah, I like having them in my little stash. They have come in handy plenty of times. You can see I just need to cut that wee green bit off the top there from the rainbow paper that was just sneaking out, and it's starting to take place. But what I need to put in is all those little inside parts of the letters. So I'm just going to use a tiny bit of liquid glue, and I'm going to kind of press them in to the inside. Now, I did think I want to not shift this around too much after this, so that's why I took the release paper off. Then I'm going to gently set the letters right in. So the little inside parts of the letters are not popped up on foam or anything. They're just nice and flat. And you can see that it kind of says, "You are awesome." So it does look a bit plain to me, and so I actually thought I would add in a couple of strips. So I've just cut a couple of strips right off the end of that rainbow thing. You can see I've kind of done it the other orientation so that I get lots of the rainbow. And I'm just going to sneak it in under because I have foam tape behind there, so I can't put it too far under there, but just enough so that there's equal amounts poking out the top and the bottom. And then, of course, I just need to snip off those wee ends, and it will be good to go. So this card is pretty simple, but I really like the rainbow effect, and I do think it looks, it looks fine as is. I don't feel like I needed to add anything more to it. Now, this is where the feet come in. This is where my plan goes wrong. So I have this frame here that is also from AliExpress, and I will try and link it down below. And so I cut it out of one of the card fronts. Not sure, again, whether I'm using the positive or the negative part. And I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. And I just feel like I really wanted to use these little feet, but it just was not happening. I couldn't, for whatever reason. It was my plan, and I really like the little feet. They're super cute, but I just couldn't make it work. But anyway, back to the frame. I am going to pop this little frame up to give it some dimension. So this is just white plain fun foam here, and I'm going to die cut it out with exactly the same frame. The only problem is when you run foam through the die cutting machine is that it can stretch a little bit, and so I'm just going to cut a little bit off with some scissors, and that way it should fit behind the Kraft coloured frame much better without really being seen. So I'm just going to use a little bit of liquid glue to adhere it down. Again, you could definitely use double-sided tape here. That would be fine too. Sometimes I just like using the liquid glue because of the wiggle room it gives you. It gives you a minute to adjust it around and make sure that you can't see any of it poking out. So again, I have my little sheet left, and this little sheet seemed to go on forever with the rainbow cardstock, but I picked the part that I wanted, and I have cut out a piece that will fit behind my frame. Just trimming off that little extra piece of adhesive on the side. And again, it doesn't kind of all look pretty from the front, from the back, but it doesn't have to. People won't end up seeing that part, so it doesn't really matter. Now I stick this down here, and then I'm going to realize that actually it's a bit big, so pull it off and I'll just cut it down a wee bit before the glue dries. And pop it back down again. So already this is looking really pretty. I like how it's shaping up so far. And I think at this point I still thought I was going to do the feet. I'm just pulling off the release paper off the back, and I will put this down nice and even in the center of my card, my 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch Kraft cardstock card. And it's looking pretty good. I just have to be a wee bit delicate because that glue is not quite dry yet. And then when I put these feet on, it just feels like too much craft colour, not enough contrast, and it covers up so much of the rainbow. I think the rainbow is kind of a big feature of the card. So when I hold them here, in my head, I didn't like it, and I couldn't make it work. So anyhow, onwards and upwards, we changed the plan, and I like this You Are Awesome die, so I have die cut it 4 times out of some scrap, I think it's actually grey cardstock, but that's okay, it doesn't matter because it will sit behind the craft colored cardstock anyway. And I'm just going to layer these up, all 4 of them. So including the front one, there will be 5 layers of cardstock, and it creates a really nice thick chipboard kind of look. And I'm just using some glue on a makeup sponge, and that way I can kind of nicely get glue on all of the little letters without getting any on my fingers and getting a mess everywhere. And I'm just going to stick that straight in the middle. Again, really plain and simple, but effective. Now to finish off this last card, I have this happy birthday die, and I'm just running it through some black cardstock. I'm running it through twice because the happy and the birthday words are joined together. I want them to be separate because they're going to be in separate places on the card. So I'm just snipping away so that one of the happy looks complete. And unfortunately by doing that you kind of ruin the birthday part. But then I'm going to do the opposite with the other one and snip away the happy so that the birthday part looks complete. So the happy and the birthday are going to go on this floral one that I've done. And again, I have heaps of this sheet left over, so I'm just kind of seeing where I like the colours to go behind it and seeing what colours I'm trying to catch. Cut a little piece out, and this is where I go to town on the foam squares. These are from AliExpress, and you can get them in 1, 2, or 3 millimeter thicknesses. I have all 3, but really I just grab for anything. I guess mostly I reach for the 2 millimeter ones, but they're all good in my opinion. It just depends. And I like having all 3 because you can layer them up to get different thicknesses, and it works really well when you've got lots of different layers on one card. So this is just finishing off this happy birthday one. Here's some more of these round circles because I have foam popped up the rest of the center where the rainbow part is, so I just need to pop up around the outside so that it's all nice and even. As I said, it looks a bit of a mess from the back here, but that's okay because no one will see it. And I was definitely running out of time here, so I just need to speed through and get this done. I am going to just do the exact same thing with the makeup sponge and some glue, some liquid glue, and sponge it onto the back of the sentiment. And the birthday is going to go down the bottom here, and the happy up the top, obviously. This is quite a delicate wee die cut, and I did cut it out of some thin black cardstock, so it might have been easier if I used a wee bit thicker stuff, but that's okay. It worked out fine. And just do exactly the same thing with the happy one. And then I did feel like this card was slightly empty, slightly emptier than the rest. I'm not really sure why, but I have cured that problem by adding on plenty of Nuvo drops. Now, I kind of thought I was trying to use the same colours as what I already had in the background in the rainbow, and I wanted to add in the black there. You can see I'm fighting with little hands that are trying to take over my project. This was a battle and a half I was having here. As I said, I was running out of time, and so I had my son on my knee, who is 8 months old at the moment, and so he was just really busy trying to help Mama. But anyway, I am just going to quickly add on some of these Nuvo drops, and as I said, I was trying to catch the colours that were similar to the ones that I'd already used with the cardstock, and the black to incorporate the happy birthday. And all three of these turned out pretty good, although they did not necessarily turn out exactly how I thought they would. I was pretty happy with how they turned out in the end, and I have 3 cool cards from it. So that is the cards for today, team. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you got some inspiration or some ideas from making these cards with me, and that you are able to give it a go. Once again, I really, really appreciate all the kind comments that you guys are leaving for me. It's not easy to put yourself out in the public arena, but yeah, reading some of your comments really makes my day, so I appreciate it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!